Okay. March 4th, Selectmen's meeting. This is a budget meeting. We do have a couple members of the Finance Committee here. There's 2 members of the Board of Selectmen. Mr. Partley couldn't be here this evening, so 2 members make a quorum, so here we are. I think it worked great with, I mentioned at the meeting on Monday night, the first budget meeting, that the selectmen had appointed Mr. LakeCAM to be the point person on the budget. So at this point, I'm going to turn over the budget.
Madam Chair, may I ask that you take it out of order for new business?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we're going to take it out of order for new business.
And it's item number 6, new business.
Item number 6.
Yes. Agenda item number 6.
I don't really have an item 6 here. Is that one of the?
I'm looking at the wrong day.
Yeah, I think it's,
Does Rich have one?
it
Yes?
was updated.
Should be in the agenda packets.
Here it is.
Tracy's agenda packets.
Okay. So you guys have a quorum now, correct?
Yep, so we'll open up the meeting at
6:30.
6:33. Yeah.
Okay, so we are going to take agenda item number 6 out of order. This is for, Beta is an engineering services group that's doing work for us on our potential Route 79 project. So right here, we have an agreement for professional services with Beta Group. And we would authorize the town administrator, Maureen Candido, to sign it. So, do you want to just tell us a little bit about what we have here?
So we've been working with Beta since 2015. We signed a contract with them. We're extending what we've asked them to do since the vote didn't pass in September. And this is an amendment to that, so it's a contract amendment, so it's additional money on top of monies already spent out of Chapter 90 funds, and it was for design services, some change orders, and to be at the Mass DOT meeting in October, the past selectmen's meeting, and to hold the presentation along with updating maps for the next presentation for next week.
Okay, so for anyone here or at home who's not aware, we are trying to put together an information night, and we would like Beta to come and help us with that presentation so that we can let everyone know what this Route 79 project is about. There were supposed to have been some information sessions, but for different reasons, they were just never done before the election. Also, that election was, the warrant articles were done separately at town meeting, and it was all combined as one question at the ballot. So right now, we're going to give folks the opportunity to vote just on the Route 79 portion. This meeting, information meeting, I know Lorraine Carboni, our town coordinator, is working diligently to get people that actually live on Route 79 there, the information about it. And we just want to make sure, as soon as we have that, I think the date's the 11th, but
Yep, this will shore it up.
this looks shored up.
Yep.
So we should hopefully start advertising that pretty soon. So unless...
I make a motion to approve number 2 to the agreement, amendment number 2 for the agreement for professional services with Beta Group, and authorize the town administrator to sign it.
I second that motion. Any other conversation, Rich? Do you want to add anything? I know you put some work into it.
No, I'm all set.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All set.
Sent to the email.
Excellent. Thank you. Hopefully we can get that word out. It's, meeting is going to be March 11th, correct?
Wednesday, March 11th, 7 PM, Ponequid Auditorium.
Okay. All right, so at this point, we're going to go into the budget part of the meeting, and I will As I was saying, Selectman LaCamera was appointed by the other two selectmen to sort of lead the budget stuff this year, so if he doesn't mind, I'd like to turn it over to him.
How are you, Kelly?
How are you tonight?
Good. I guess we'd like you to try to just give an overview of the budget
Okay.
and where we are here, and then if anybody has any questions, we can ask questions.
Certainly. Well, thank you for the opportunity to come before you tonight. And I just wanted to start off with saying, as a result of last year's increase in staffing at the center, we've been able to, with the part-time position going to full-time, we've been able to add some new programming, recruit volunteers, distribute the workload a little bit better, and we're planning a little bit of night series to see if there's interest with the senior community as well as the community at large in that. So that's kind of exciting. I have a lot of, data here if you're interested in figures. Just to a quick overview, in 2019, we had over 10,000 check-ins at the senior center. Some of that is obviously repetitive. People come back for, daily or multi-times a week. Our average daily check-ins at the center is 44 people. Weekly, it's 220, and it's just growing all the time. As far as the budget goes, the request this year, overall budget is down. The expenses are only over by $300 from what we requested last year. And that's sort of just general, the electricity and the heating costs, things that fluctuate anyways with pricing of fuel and that type of thing. I can go through each item if you want, or if you have questions
No,
on
I don't
the
think
breakdown
that's
at all.
necessary
Okay.
at
All right.
all. Unless somebody has any questions, it's pretty straightforward, so.
Yeah.
$300 increase, I assume.
And we do typically give, are able to get money back to you guys each year, especially through our outreach worker that's paid for by the SIG grant. And for the last 2 years, it's covered it in full. And there's a line item for her in the payroll budget for $5,000, so that just goes back to the town each year. We just kind of keep it there in case those funds don't come, since they are state funds. But we did get some great news from Elder Affairs that they've increased that SIG grant budget for us by $500 this year and $1,000 for next year. So that should continue, and maybe next year we could even bring that $5,000 down, even though it comes back. So that is what I had. If you don't have any questions, I did submit a supplemental letter to you guys for a later consideration, not regarding the budget, when the regular budget part is through. And that's all I have for tonight.
I just wanted to make one note for people at home, and this is not about you, this is about the budget process in general. This is a maintenance budget for anyone that wasn't listening to the last one. I know it's a series of meetings. So what was asked of all the department heads was to give us all their steps, their levels, and all of their increases that are basically they can't change, like the cost of heating and stuff like that. So this does not include the cost of living increases and the top step increases or the department head increases.
Correct.
So,
Yeah, thank you.
no, I just want to make sure everyone at home knows.
Any questions? Okay, thanks, Kelly.
Thank you very much. Have a great evening.
I believe the next is
I think they
the
would.
Veterans Agent.
Couple pages, after. Yeah, 2 pages. 543. Yep,
I'm going the wrong way.
yep.
Thank you.
One more that one.
Thanks for your help.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. All right.
How you doing? Okay. Good. Actually, I don't know if we should introduce do you know the Finance Committee?
Oh, yeah.
That's all right.
We have a couple new guys.
Hello.
New guy 1, new guy 2. There you go. Now you know everybody. We're good.
Veteran guy.
Statesman, George. Statesman.
Just efficiency, we're like looking to move ahead.
Okay, I guess maybe you can just give us an overview of your budget,
Okay.
and
Well, I mean,
then we can ask any
it's pretty much
questions or whatever.
straightforward.
That was efficient.
You know, DVS has told us that they're going to do at least a 3% increase, maybe even as much as a 4% increase. So I try to work that out as best I could. And one other factor is, as of November 11th, the burial benefit has gone up from $2,000 to $4,000. And the requirement before was that it had to be under $3,000, and now the requirement is $5,000. So not only has that doubled, the chances of people being able to qualify for it is also doubled. So I'm trying to figure that that's going to push up a little bit more than the 3 or 4% that they're talking about. So that's pretty much all that stuff. And then I got my readout for Halifax and, well, Lakeville from what VA pays out every month, so it's good for you guys to know this.
Thank you.
See, I'm a money maker for the town.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like $300,000 a month the VA is putting into Lakeville, so.
Yeah, maybe just ought to say what programs, you know, you
Well,
provide.
you got
and what we
VA.
get reimbursed for, so.
Yeah, they're, well, okay, on the state stuff, Chapter 115 stuff,
Yeah.
most of the budget there, that gets reimbursed 3/4 from the state, so, you know, it's pretty much a...
But the benefits that the vets get are
The
health insurance, burials.
Right,
you know.
burials.
Right,
You know, people that need heat and
right.
different medical expenses, you know. I mean, the people that are getting those expenses, they really count on the money.
Yeah.
It's,
How many vets do we have in town? Do you know?
no, I don't.
No, that's okay.
How many vets do we service?
Well, in the Chapter 115, I
Yeah.
got 24 cases.
Okay.
And there's some multiple people in some of the cases. And that can go up and down
Sure.
all the time. So.
And if folks want to find you, you're at the Council on
Yep,
Aging, right?
Council on
Yeah.
Aging.
Yeah.
Every Friday, all day,
Yeah.
my open door day.
Yeah.
But I
And-
come in other days during the week,
Yeah.
do appointments.
I do know too, just because I did sit on the Board of Assessors for a while, that we have a lot of veterans taking exemptions and everything, which we actually have a pretty high percentage compared to other municipalities our size in the state. And I do think that has to do with having a really great Council on Aging. The staff, I see some of the staff back there, Kelly, who just left,
Yeah.
and you too. And you know, I've read a lot of those when we were signing them, and we have a lot of people who gave all in this town,
Well,
and the families and everything. So I really thank you for, you know,
Well,
working with.
that's my job. It's,
Yeah.
you know, I don't do it so much for the money. It's, you know, helping out.
Clearly not. Yeah.
You know, I do a radio show on Tuesdays over in Taunton to try to get the word out too. And a few weeks ago, the Gazette got me for a few things. They got a few things wrong in it, but and even when I gave paperwork, but that's, you know, it's minor stuff that they got wrong. And I'd rather have somebody come in and, you know, me clarify stuff than not see them at all.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
trying to get the word out. I mean, the Chapter 115 benefits, which is most of the budget here, that can really make a difference in some people's lives. Somebody's falling behind a little bit every month, putting something on a credit card. If you can stop that and give them something so they can pay back and they don't have to worry about their medications, they don't have to worry about their fuel,
Yeah.
you know, they don't have to worry about going to the doctor, this, that, and everything else. It's an important thing.
Just so everybody knows, you know, this year's, the budget we're in right now was $203,000, and we got reimbursed $122,000 from the state, so,
Yeah.
yeah, that's great. Great job.
Yeah.
Well, I try to keep up with everything. It's fun dealing with the authorizers.
I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. but that's part of the job, so.
Yeah.
Any questions, anybody?
Yeah.
So what's the best way for folks to get, and you said you're at the COA, but are all the veterans in town aware of these services and know that they're
No,
available?
they're not. We try to get the word out as much as we can. It's an ongoing thing. I mean, that's why I do the radio show. I try to talk with as many people as I can. I go to different events, and stuff. I was up in Quincy today for a veteran service officer thing. And, there's a lot of different things that people that have served are going to be qualified for. One of the new things is the urgent care. And this is somebody that's already getting their health through the VA system. Instead of having to go to Brockton or over to Fairhaven, or some people go over to Plymouth, if they get an injury or they're really, really sick, they can go to the urgent care over here in Lakeville, over by the train station. This is something that you're not going to use on a regular basis. It's 3 times a year on it. But this is something new that can, just imagine yourself. You're running at a temperature of 103, 104. Do you really want to drive to Brockton?
No.
No. You're dangerous to yourself and you're dangerous to other people on the road. So if you can go over to the urgent care there and get the help that you need, this is a good thing.
The state does
VA's
have-
been improving.
The state does have a good website, Brian, that, talks about all the benefits, so forth, they can refer to. It's pretty good, so.
I didn't know if we sent out ever reminders with the excise tax or dog tag reminder type things, if there's ever been a,
Well, everybody gets the dog tag reminder.
but just if you're a veteran.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, if you're a veteran.
Yeah.
We could have Will work with Lorraine, and she
Yeah,
can
I'm
post
trying to
it
do-
on our website, and then.
Well, the assessors do send out a thing for all the taxes and stuff.
Yeah.
And there is an annuity that certain veterans can get that are getting like 100%, a few other things. They get $1,000 twice a year. And they all know about it, and they have to have it in by a certain date in order to go and get those. So,
I will say too, through the assessors, we had spoken to, a lot of times when folks join the military, they're in their youth, they're in their prime, and they feel like they have to carry that their whole life, but they cannot, it's okay to ask for help. That's what it's there for. They've done their service, and, no one should be afraid to come forward to ask for a little bit of help.
right, well,
Yep.
anybody that's out there, look, I know, when you first get out of the service, you've been taking orders for 4, 10, well, how many years, right? And the last thing you want to hear is anything from the government.
Right.
But, maybe you got that service-connected, disability that you haven't put in for. Well, come in and see me.
Yeah. Did-
Don't do it on your own.
Right.
Because if you do it on your own through the VA, you're going to miss the dots. You're going to miss crossing the T's,
Or deadlines, or,
deadlines. Put the wrong forms in. Not fill in all the boxes that need to be filled in. I mean, there are boxes there, right, that maybe you don't think it applies to you, but you got to put a 0 in there. Otherwise, it'll get kicked back.
yep,
So, and I know this stuff.
yeah.
So.
Lori, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say to Bill, anything you want to put on the website.
Oh, yeah,
you want to give to me, like,
yeah.
for the COA site, and then Cheryl does Facebook, so give us whatever. I mean, it's easy enough to just put up there.
They've done that for me before.
I know, I know. You ladies may please introduce yourselves, because they do work at the COA, and,
I'm
they're,
surprised they don't have their little zappers.
Yeah, I will take that first.
yeah, and they're all, even if you have no idea what, you can go to the COA anytime, you don't have to be there, and they will make sure, I know them, they'll make sure that they give you, that they give the person your number, or,
Oh, it is such an advantage of having the office in the COA. Because, I have people who pop in all the time just to ask me a quick question. We don't think it's that important, but any question is important.
important, yeah.
And I got people who pop in just to go and shoot the breeze.
yep.
I'm busy, but that's okay.
Yeah,
War stories.
yeah.
We got okay, thanks for coming in, we
Okay.
appreciate it.
Anything else? Great, thank you. Thank you, ladies, too. Thank you.
Planning board?
Planning board. You had a piece of paper.
Easy budget.
We do. We have another one if you don't.
I put it in my binder.
Oh, you.
Yes. I forgot my 3-hole punch tonight, though.
I 3-hole punched yours.
Yeah, for the other. That's why I put it right in my binder.
About 4 minutes before they're due to be on, so they might not.
Okay.
Might be coming on 2 wheels.
I thought, I heard that someone would be here, but
There he is.
All right, do we have an updated? No.
That's it.
We're gonna talk about this at all?
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, you're
you
in
do
big trouble now.
Did you do it?
Can we take a break?
Zink, you're up already. We're early.
Sorry.
Are you here for the planning board?
Just kept getting late.
Whenever you're ready, Zink.
Oh, no.
Dirty as room.
Did you? Don't look. Don't
look.
arrest George. He didn't mean it.
I was pushed. I swear it wasn't me.
I was pushed. That's funny.
It's on camera. Yeah, that was great. I mean, you guys are very efficient here. Do you have another Diet Coke machine or anything? I mean, that's really what's really important, but we'll deal with that. There you go. Are we good? Do you feel assaulted?
Yes.
Okay. We can talk about this later.
Put the lid back on the bottle.
We'll dump this out. This will be cut out of the meeting. That's great.
Yeah.
Good.
Edited.
Are you it, Zink, or is somebody else coming?
I have no idea.
You know?
I was just here for as support.
Oh, okay. Then somebody else must be coming.
Do we want to do?
Should we skip? Go to the
number
chief?
3?
No, we can go to animal control, because I don't think David's gonna be
Oh,
here.
he is going to make
Said he
it?
was coming.
Oh, he's coming? I'm sorry.
Well, it's only 2 minutes.
We do the other agenda items.
1 minute.
You can never talk about the chief's budget in 2 minutes.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, the meeting one.
And here.
No, but
So
if you
start with
want, we
that.
can do agenda item number
Just put it in
3.
So we can see the percentage change.
That'd be eye-opening, wouldn't it? That would be, whoa.
Okay, so we're gonna take this out of order a little bit. Agenda item number 3, request for the appointment of James Bowles as a special police officer. So our police chief has requested the appointment of Jim Bowles as a special police officer. If appointed, his term would expire on July 31st, 2020. I will entertain a
So moved.
Okay. Second, all those in favor of Jim Bowles becoming a special police officer?
All right.
Aye. That was easy.
Thank you.
We'll see you in a couple minutes.
Do number 4.
Sure. Agenda item number 4. This is to, we have a resignation letter from Deanna Elliott from the Open Space Committee. So, please accept my resignation from Open Space. New mom, working professional, a lot of time for her. So I will entertain a motion to accept her resignation letter.
So moved.
I second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And I guess we advertise the vacancy, or?
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was gonna say, we did have someone that was a candidate for a associate member.
That we
so-
had sort of tabled from
Yep,
before?
we're gonna wait for a letter. Jesse Medford
Okay.
said he would submit that letter. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
Did we vote on that? Vote on
We
that,
did
Tracy?
vote on that to accept the
set?
resignation.
Okay.
Yes, okay.
All right.
Let me just make a note here.
I guess we can do number 5 then, while we're at it. So we don't know who's coming from the planning board? or-
Lorraine?
I hadn't heard that anybody wasn't.
Okay.
Okay, I got no problem doing number 5 here. Well, the problem with number 5, though, is March 20th, 2019. Neither you nor I were here, so
Rule of necessity.
rule of necessity. So I make a motion to accept the minutes from March 20th, 2019.
So moved.
All those in favor?
All right.
Aye. And then we have February 10th, 2020, and February 13th,
So moved.
2020.
So moved.
I second. All those in favor?
All right.
Aye. Okay. So we did that.
And February 13th, you got that one?
I thought we did both of them.
She did.
I did both.
Yep.
I did the first one separate for the
Gotcha.
rule of necessity there.
Well, I don't know what we do. Who?
Do you have one of these? On the new business?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nope, I haven't done it. I would just read the letter.
Was this your copy that you gave me? Okay, because there was one in here, it's just way at the bottom.
Well, Zink, I don't know what you want to do, if you want us to discuss this or not, or you want to wait another time to get your members, or...
We do have the letter.
We have a
Bobby?
letter.
We'll go ahead.
Okay, why don't you come up here and sit in the hot seat?
I would, yeah. I would
No,
just read the
that's
letter.
David.
Yeah, me too.
Sit down.
Okay,
So,
you know everybody?
Okay.
Okay, we certainly don't have a problem with your budget that was presented for $300. I mean, that's no problem. It's the letter we got.
There's another sheet.
Yeah, we got it right here. So I don't know if you can, explain some of this stuff or not. The first item is $1,000 for training and testing. Do I assume these are classes or
Yes.
something that you want?
Yes.
Don't you go to classes now?
Yes,
And don't we reimburse, don't we pay for those?
yes.
So where do they come, what is that, the rest of the $1,000?
I would think that you'd want to, that's up to you, if you want to keep doing it the way you're doing it. Right now, we go in as a selectman, on a selectman's budget.
Oh, okay. As long as we have money there, we're okay.
I've been going now for, personally, I've gone to 9 years in a row.
Okay.
And they always pay it.
Yeah.
But it seems like it makes sense to have our own budget.
No, we do a lot of training out of the selectmen's budget, in seminars and stuff like that, so, I don't think we, and this is just me, I don't think we should have, separate line items in all the budgets. If we get, I don't know what the number is, maybe it's $5,000-6,000 in the selectmen's budget, then we just take it out of that budget, and that way they don't have to have individual line items in everybody's budget, so.
Rich, can I get clarification?
Sure.
Are you proposing just doing what you've always been doing for training, or increasing the amount of training that?
I think we should
I agree with the state. The state has a recommendation too, that we do a bunch more training.
A bunch more training.
Yeah, we're supposed to do more training. It's not getting easier at all.
No, we encourage you to go to training.
it's
That's
getting-
not a problem at all. So if somebody
It's getting
can,
difficult.
if somebody can provide us, Maureen,
Well,
maybe a
there
list
are-
of courses that you might want to take, we'll
And then
gladly
we can
do
see if we
that.
can bump our budget up by that amount.
Whatever. Yeah.
And they do it in a way that makes sense, and you have prerequisites, and then
Okay.
when you get to step one, then you do step two.
Just
and all
tell
that
us how
sort
the
of stuff.
program should work. Okay, the next item is, you're asking for $5,000 for legal costs?
That was in the memo.
That was in the memo.
Okay.
And I guess we don't understand why, because any legal costs associated with a development
Yes.
is paid by the developer anyways, and any legal costs that the town has, other legal costs, we have one budget for legal costs. So I don't know why they're asking for $5,000 of their own legal cost line item.
The,
If you can't answer it, that's okay, but
I actually.
I can answer it a little bit.
I had a conversation, saying,
Yes.
I think it was you and Brian, and the question was, they wanted to make sure they had attendance at more of their meetings, so it would be an increase of presence of legal counsel at their meetings.
At the actual planning.
Yep, at the planning board meetings. And
well, but that's okay, but we have a budget to do that.
we do have a budget to do that,
So I don't see it as a separate line item.
yeah.
In the planning, we have a, what is it now?
Yeah,
$70,000 legal budget from the town. So if you require services for the council to attend a meeting, then it'll come out of the selectmen's budget.
So.
Which is, it always been that way, it always has been that way. Is that a problem, or?
Usually it doesn't. Usually it's not a problem. It did turn into a problem, I think, when we had the, over the past few years, when we had the marijuana onslaught, where we weren't always on the same side of the argument as the selectmen.
But legal counsel should be independent of the selectmen or the planning board, either one. And they shouldn't take sides one way or the other.
Well, yeah, of course, I absolutely agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you
Okay.
looking for different legal counsel or the same legal counsel?
Usually, the same one would be just fine. There was once that it wouldn't have. That, somebody, they got in too early. And
Well, I mean, I would say,
It's,
I encourage.
we have to have some independence.
We encourage you.
Right.
but it wasn't really tested properly.
Yeah, no, I think it's a prudent, if you ever have anything that you think needs legal counsel, to call them in and bring them as part
Yeah,
of it.
just have the planning board chairman
Yeah.
request through the town administrator, and we encourage you to have them have the town represented at some of those things. Absolutely. Okay, I don't know if that's okay. If you can't answer the planning board, I understand, but,
Yeah,
okay?
okay.
So the last item is that they are requesting a town planner for the amount of $100,000.
Yeah, just very, that's a very rough thing, because it doesn't, no one meant full-time at first.
Yeah.
Because there were a lot of discussions going on with your administration, with the administrative team upstairs, and all that. What different ways can we get this done? But they started apparently. The reason it came up, master plan just came through. I mean, this is just.
I just read it last night.
What?
I just read it last night.
Yeah,
I got my copy.
I think he did a nice job. This one reads.
I don't know how we're gonna
easily.
pay for all that stuff, but
Pardon? No. No, paid for.
I'm not talking about just that sake. I'm just in general.
Oh. No, but the document got paid for.
Yeah, the document's paid for.
The
yes.
document's paid for. That's not, so anyway, this will be, the first iteration of this document is somewhere around 2002, and it asked for a planner. This isn't like a new, fresh idea or anything like that. I thank you for actually calling us in here. We've never been called in before, even though we've asked for this for the last exactly 5 years anyway. When things started getting, about 5 years ago, things started getting more complicated. About 5 years ago, we also had, we had like the same people. We had a guy that was on for like 35 years, and there was a guy that was on for 25 years, and another guy on for 25 years. And they remembered a lot of stuff. And now Brian's not running again. And we don't have any more 20-year people. We have people with, this is my 10th, and I'm the senior guy. And that's for
that good or
planning.
bad?
That's nothing. What?
Is that good or bad?
It's bad. It's bad. You have to get used to the idea of working for people that are younger than you are. That's important. But anyway, and so we're asked mostly for. We've got a bunch of people in the building that can do all of the. We don't not get work done. I mean the people come in and they get whatever they want from the town, and it's delivered. It's not necessarily delivered very well, but we've never been sued, and we've never had a constructive approval. So, we are getting the stuff done, but we don't, a site plan review for us would just, it comes in, we look at it, very often it's the first night, sign it, and give it back. There's a lot you can do to it if someone had the time to do something to it and write it up. There are formal findings you can make and all sorts of things like that, but we haven't the time to do that. We haven't anyone that can do that. It's not that we need more hours of work, but we need some leadership. It's not whoever that would be hired. They would be also teaching us, the town volunteers, of what's going on and stuff like that. They're changing stuff each year. We never got caught up again after the marijuana thing came along. I mean, it was, that just threw everything off, and what modest plans we had. We have problems that are only important to nerds like us, where we have problems with how we define frontage in Lakeville, and it's not easy to fix. It takes a lot of talking and a lot of discussing and stuff like that, and we're under open meeting laws. We're not even allowed to talk to each other, which makes it harder. But
Well, I think
it gives us a person that would tie our whole group together and the ZBA. About half the work that needs doing is with the ZBA. The other half of the work is with the with the planning board, that person is the person that could, if you wanted the planning board to do something that was important to you, you would be able to go talk to the planner and have the planner deal with and get that idea through to them. You can't do it now. That person is the same as, for us, is the same as the Maureen's and Lorraine's, of being able to communicate with you and get the actual work done, because you're allowed to talk to each other. They're allowed to talk, and the planner is allowed to get all this communication done for us of what's our minimum on this project? What do we actually want to see? What do we have to have? And things like that, which is stuff that you just can't say in front of that darn camera there.
Anyways,
Yes.
I guess, I think there's a couple of things. I think that, first of all, I think Nate Darling is doing a lot of this work on some of these developments
Good
that
point.
are coming in, and he's doing a lot of the legwork, and I know that Zach, that he's really got a lot of work to do, and he's got a lot of things going on right now.
And something will happen.
And then, we do have an engineer that does the site plan, review. Now, whether that's working or not, the peer review, maybe that needs to be changed. I don't know. I'm not going to comment on that right now. But, as far as the town planner is concerned, we certainly can't afford a $100,000 planner, and I think you realize that. So I think there's ways, to look at this, and there's grant programs out there that we could apply for. Okay, that we could talk about sharing a planner with another town, as a possibility, or we could contract out some services, in the short term, where we could hire. There's a lot of people out there that can do consulting work in land use and so forth. So there's multiple things that we should look at, and I don't disagree that we need to do something. So I'm with you on that. So
This is Barbara.
yeah, Barbara, I know. Barbara.
She's our real presenter.
I'm sorry, I thought I was on at 7:15, I'm kind of close.
That's okay.
So as you know, I represent the town also on Serpide, so I did have a chance to talk with them. They may have resources for us there. So if we were to try out some outsourcing in the beginning, and then down the road, if we decided we need a full-time person. I personally am not a proponent for hiring a full-time person to represent the town at this time, primarily because I think we don't know what exactly we need. And I also I'm concerned a lot about the siloing effect, that if you're only working in this town, your vision's kind of limited, whereas if you have more exposure to different communities and different land use situations, with that wider vision, we may have greater benefit. So my recommendation is that we have a consultant, or either an outsourced consultant or resource through Serpide, until we figure out what we need and how long we're going to need it for and how many hours and so forth.
Okay. That's what I just said.
Yes, it is. It is. But I think that we all agree on planning board as well, so.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
So I guess at this point, we'll wait for the next step, I guess, and try to get at least a ballpark number that we may need for some consulting services? Are we just gonna wait a little bit and figure it out?
Well, that would be wonderful if we could. I think we need to probably have some discussions about who would be benefiting from these services and what they think they need before we go out and talk to anybody.
Okay.
So ZBA, planning board, Nate Darling,
Yeah,
whoever
please.
else, conservation.
He needs help.
Yeah, so.
Okay,
Okay.
so you're gonna get back to Maureen, and then we'll
Sure.
figure out what the next step is gonna be?
Yep.
Okay, great.
Did you want to add anything to the $5,000 for legal costs? Did you want to discuss that at all? I know, Zink
Well, that
offered that, we'd like more legal coverage at meetings, but I didn't know if it was for anything else that you might offer.
Well, I do come from the business world, and in the business world, cost centers have allocations to them. So a cost center for a division or a subdivision of a division would have all expenses allocated to that. So we've spent a lot of money with legal fees, I'm sure, with all of the things that happened over the past couple of years, but we have no visibility into what, was that our cost? Was it somebody else's cost? So I think when we initially talked about that, it was just to try to get an idea of what our actual legal costs are on planning board, what we're incurring. And I would argue that some of those costs are going to be offset with the planner.
That's a real important part. We have a lawyer doing a planner's work at a much higher rate. And we have it just because, well, there was no one, there was no one there to do it, and we were sort of like between people, and but it wound up that we were using we didn't need a lawyer.
Yep, okay.
And I can get an estimate on what they are when we get billed.
Yep.
It gives a small
Breakdown.
of what they're doing, so.
See, a lot of that stuff comes, it should come out of the agency fee that we charge, you know, if it's a developer, you know, that,
Absolutely.
you know,
Yes.
so, I mean, I know that, I mean, coincidentally, I just got a list of what that is, and you might be interested in the planning board, might be interested.
Should be a
in it.
wash or then some.
Right,
Yes.
yes.
But we know perfectly well what the actual, yeah.
Oh, we know what the actual
Yeah.
is, absolutely.
Yeah.
So if maybe we just share that information, you know, because I think what we encourage you, I encourage you, to have town council, our legal representation, at some of these meetings, having to do with some of these developments. You know, we, as Nick pointed out, the marijuana thing. Well, it's not just the marijuana thing. I mean, there's some of these other big developments that are going on. If we need services, we should get the services. And we shouldn't be shy about asking for the service.
That's awesome. Great.
And there's a lot
You
more
know.
money that can be taken out of those projects.
Well,
Yeah.
That's the other.
we need to have a discussion
We
about
can
agency
extract a
fees, so
lot more
everybody
money
understands what
from
the agency fees
Yep.
are
these
supposed to be,
developers.
what we should ask for, because sometimes we don't ask for enough. You know, and that's a problem. Sometimes we ask for too much, and then we got to give the money back, you know, if we don't use that money. So, yeah, we need to have a further discussion on that.
Maybe, because I think your chair will be changing, maybe whoever the chair is going to be going forward can work with Maureen to come up with a schedule of when you want to know how much was spent quarterly or monthly, or, you know, it's just a pretty easy report that,
And we have things that we've been charged for. Obviously, we don't have what has been charged back through.
We do.
You have that?
I have that list. Coincidentally, I got that list the other day.
June.
yeah.
Excellent.
So,
Excellent.
yeah.
The other
And we
top,
can
the only
gladly
other,
provide that to the
We're
planning.
getting better at some of those things too, of charging. But
I think the other
The people
one
don't
was $1,000 for training.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep.
which, given the most recent training that we're going to be going to, we will eat up half of that budget. So we may want to revisit that next year to see where it is, but I think we'll probably, we all need to be training, we all need to be taking advantage of some of the things the state's offering, and it's not expensive. Tremendous resource for us, because we're volunteers.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, I think,
We had that conversation with Zink.
I'm so sorry I'm
That's
late.
okay.
7:15.
That's okay.
there's no one else here to talk.
The selectman has a budget, you know, for training and stuff, and we have always, from what I understand, I don't know 100%, but we always paid for that training, whatever the planning board went to. We encourage you to take more courses and stuff
Good.
like that, so
We
if
just
you
need to
come
know what
forward.
they are.
We just, you know, tell us what they are, and if we have to add some more money and a little more money, we will.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Great, that's
so-
helpful.
Okay?
I just had a comment on the training. I thought for a board of that size, 1,000 sounded really low for training if there's stuff that comes out every year. And it looks like there might be at least one new person on the board with the selection cycle, that it might be their first time on a planning board. So I don't know if there's going to be a bunch of prerequisites they also have to get to before they can start taking this stuff. You
So
folks
one
might
of the
consider.
one of the difficult things is that the trainings are, you have to drive out there to get to them. So it's on a Saturday, it's a better part of a day, it's Worcester, and all of that's fine, happy to do that, but it limits how much somebody like me, I work full-time, I mean, and I'm not available every Saturday, and if I'm not available that Saturday, then I can't make it. So I think being able to send Kathy, our clerk, to these events is really important, because then she can copy and feed us back the information like she's been doing in the past. Which is another note I'll mention. We did suggest to her that she go ahead and submit her expenses for last year, which she did not believe would be reimbursable, but we've benefited tremendously from the information she provides.
So
She
these are,
didn't submit her expenses?
I don't believe she had. She may have by now, but at our last meeting, we did talk
She
about it.
absolutely should submit her expenses.
Excellent, thank you. Yes.
so these are the kind of trainings where you can send 1 or 2 folks and they can come back as train the trainer situation. It's not like you
Kind
have
of
to
like
go
that.
and get a certification.
Yes, but the issue is that when they do these training days, they have so many breakout sessions. We're actually going to have to meet to talk about who's going to cover what, because we really want to cover as much as we can, but we can't all be in every room.
Makes sense.
But things are moving very, very quickly. So it's,
And then some of the best programs are programs that take up the whole day during the week. They're geared toward people who are toward employees, toward full-time,
Planners.
toward the full-time planner, full-time people, and the full-time housing people. That's where there seems to be an awful lot of learning to do around housing and stuff like that, because it's such a political subject.
And by the way, we hope that she's not using her own car. We have a town car that's available for her to go to Worcester.
okay,
Well,
all right. I'll let Kathy know that she absolutely should be,
We
basically.
got the Board of Health car. Absolutely.
All right. I'm sure she'll want to take her own car, but she'll appreciate the offer.
Should we
get
change?
55 cents, don't we? Don't we get 55 cents?
55 cents a mile.
Change what?
The,
I've never.
for, in the planning board somewhere,
For what?
for like Kathy's reimbursables, if she's gonna be going to more trainings or something.
Well, I think that's why I think when we came up with the $1,000, we were looking at the training that's coming up this spring for all of us to go, Kathy to go to at least one other thing, and that gave us a little bit of a buffer in case if something else cool came up.
And Zink, if I'm not wrong, it was about $175 per class for the last couple ones that I've.
The one we're going to this month is $75 a person.
75, gotcha. So they're not hugely expensive as compared to some other classes that you go to.
Okay, thanks for coming.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you for having this for the first time.
Okay, David, you're up.
Hi, how are you?
Good, you know? Okay, I don't know if you want to talk about the budget, Dave, or you just want to
Just
ask
a little,
questions.
because part of some of my budget, like for the callbacks, people, that work for me at night, that's kind of hard, to figure how much money you're gonna have, because it's almost like, we've already done 52 calls through the police department in 2 months for animal complaints. That's not counting the shelter. So I figured we've done 85 complaints just through people, just through Lakeville. And then we do the boarding, but that really doesn't have anything to do with it. But then I've been in court more this year than I've ever been in all the years I've ever worked there. So I have to put people on to cover, because with my job, it's just me. So every time I'm off, I have to replace myself with somebody. So it's kind of hard to figure that part of the budget.
So,
Rich, right now, he's on target to spend about 21 on that line this year, and it
Thank
was
you.
budgeted for 16. So
yeah. I guess the question was, why wasn't that budgeted more last year then? it's only 16.
Because I'm on salary and I do part of the nights. I do 3 24-hour nights, days.
Okay, so you are not doing that anymore?
Yeah, I'm still doing that.
Okay, because it's jumping $9,000.
But my salary went up.
No, I understand, I'm not talking about your salary, I'm talking about callbacks.
If you look at the 2019 actual and the 2018 actual, and then you subtract out the 16 that was added in last year to David's stipends and pays, the number for 2020 should have been 37 minus 16, but it was down to 16. And this 2021 would put it back in line to what that growth rate of about $3,000 per year would be. And that's why the 25 is in there for a number. Like I said, it's looking on target to do somewhere high 20s, 21 for this year. We're already eclipsing that $16,000 number.
2 more months, we'll be getting so many calls, it'll be unbelievable. Because of the wildlife coming back out again. Nobody wants wildlife in their yards. There's nothing you can really do about it. But the calls just get astronomical. We did 900 calls last year. For 2019. I mean, it's not a little town anymore.
So you could basically get called in the middle of the night and somebody says, I see a coyote, and you
Yep.
could waste your time to go out there and say, yes, you saw a coyote.
I went on 3 calls last night till 1 o'clock this morning.
And what were those calls, David?
One was a dog attack.
Oh,
That was mutual
need
aid.
to go to that one.
It was, that was kind of, yeah, it was a dog attack on somebody. So you never know what you're gonna get.
When you say you go to court, what's that for?
Animal complaint, mostly animal abuse.
Oh,
A lot of people get abuse charges. People, it depends on the person who's calling you. They think something's an animal abuse call. Like I got a call, there was 50 cats in the house, I went there, there was 5. I mean, most of the calls, some of the calls are so unfounded, but you gotta go anyhow.
Anybody got any questions of David?
Well, you don't do the inspections, though.
I do animal inspections too.
You do the animal
Kennel
inspections, too?
I do kennel inspections.
Okay.
I don't do animal inspections for the horses and stuff, but I do all the kennel permits. And then I'm mostly by myself, so I get people who want to come to the shelter on the day who complain that we're not there. We can't be there and be out on calls either.
It's the only budget so far where electricity has not gone up.
You haven't turned the lights on.
Yeah.
Just going with a flashlight.
Yeah. Yeah, that's never changed.
With the wires backwards on the meter.
Yeah. I got it hooked to your house.
Don't give me any idea.
That's what I was doing in your yard.
Any other questions?
Nope, I think, no.
Yeah, like tonight when I came in here, I had to put Jen on to do the adoptions. Because people say, why don't you close for adoptions? But when you get somebody who drives 55 miles from another town to adopt a dog, they're not too happy if you didn't open up. There's a lot of things that, a lot of people don't see.
Like, we don't always see all the donations you get either, but there's a substantial amount of donations, right?
We must take in, I think we took in 8,000 to 9,000, right? 1 year. 1 year we took in
I don't have it in,
25,000.
But I know it's
Just cash.
extensive and
No,
and we get them
the
from,
donation money.
I think the most amazing thing is we get them from people in other towns.
Yeah.
We board 10 other towns. I don't know if you were aware of that. And that actually makes us money because those people donate more than anybody. All the surrounding towns that board with us, we get a lot of money from them.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
thanks, David.
Thank you.
Have a great night, everybody.
You too.
Thanks for what you do.
Now, here's trouble.
Here's trouble.
Does anyone want to take a break before he gets up here? No, nothing,
We're gonna power through.
But George only has half the bottle
I know.
of
Pull
left,
that
so.
way next time.
Get that away from me.
Power and any more than that.
Once this runs out, the meeting is over. We're adjourning.
Sands from the hourglass.
Now, this is the biggest budget we can cut.
Yeah.
So.
The hot seat.
Welcome to your first
oh, thank
budget.
you.
Thank you.
Bob.
Excited.
Welcome. Very excited to have you here.
I mentioned to the Finance Committee last night that we're in union negotiations. So any step increases that an officer was entitled to is in the budget, but that does not necessarily include, does not include cost of living increases and some other things too. So we're negotiating the contract as we speak. So this number, as I told you, we've provided some funding, you know, for these increases. So, go ahead, Chief.
So the budget that I prepared, that you have in front of you, is 2.18% less than the FY20 budget. That reduction is due to retirements and to a reorganization of the police department. When I took over, I did a reorganization, so the budget is actually one less supervisor and one less full-time dispatcher. And those were just taken out of the budget. It didn't affect any real positions or anything. I looked at the dispatcher one. That savings, I think, I saw it as, you know, two people sitting on the desk, where that money is better utilized in maybe part-timers, where I could have call-ins, where I could, if we get busy, I can call someone in to have two people on the desk at certain times. There are some other increases in the budget, increases, just line item increases. The overall is, you know, 2.18% less than last year, but the big increase is the overtime, and I wrote out the narrative that you have in front of you to kind of give you an explanation of why that is a significant increase. And I think over the years, we've always been underfunded in overtime.
What happens when a police station's underfunded in OT? Do you end up having to shift people around?
Yeah, so that's what, as a police chief, that I have the authority to just move people from shift to shift. And it's done as an emergency type situation. So we have always done it on a routine type situation. If someone takes vacation on an evening shift, I'll take someone from the day shift, move them to the evening shift, and this can be last minute notice as well. I'm taking Friday off, and then I'll take someone from the day shift. You're now working 3 to 11. They might have plans that night, and it kind of creates problems. It's a practice that you can do legally in emergency situations. There's case law, but it's not a practice that's actually done in other area communities. We do it because we don't have the money in the budget to do it. So I think the way we have the budget this year, I think it's an appropriate time to fund the overtime account. The page that you have, that second page, is just a breakdown of what we have. The FY20, you can see that overall the overtime accounts is a total of $150,000. You can see the increases for my request, and it says minimum requested increase. That is a breakdown of what I've done, which would be a minimum number where I wouldn't have to bounce anybody. I wouldn't have to move shifts and use that on routine circumstances. That number funds overtime appropriately. The maximum one, you can see that, that's not my request. That would be fantastic to have that number. That number would actually would backfill every shift to the staffing that we have right now. Right now we have a minimum of 3 patrols during the day, 3 patrols during the evening till 11 o'clock at night. Our minimum staffing level in town is 2. So we have a minimum staffing level of 2 patrols, day shift and the evening shift. So if there's 3 people, 3 patrols on the evening shift, one person wants to take the day off, he takes the day off. I don't backfill that. I don't fill it with overtime. There's a cost savings there. So that maximum figure would be if I did fill all those shifts. I calculated what the averages were, how many vacation days, how many personal days the entire department has, and what's essential that would need to be filled, and that figure came out to $129,000 and change. So that would be my request for the wages overtime line to go up to 130. And you can see the comparables that I have to other departments around with our size. The total requested amount over all the overtime lines of $213,000, whereas you have the town of Freetown, same size, 19-man department, has an overtime account of $258,000. And that doesn't include dispatch. I don't believe it includes dispatch. They have a separate town department that does that. So you could just see what we had for FY20 in our overtime accounts. You can see how low it is.
Chief, what would be like the breakdown if we hired? Would it be helpful to hire an additional patrolman as opposed to giving an overtime budget?
That's been the theory that we've done over the years, where, okay, yeah, we could save overtime by hiring someone, and that is something that has kind of depleted our overtime account, where we want to bring our depleted staff level up to the appropriate level. We're at the appropriate level right now. You know, obviously we're not at the federal standards and guidelines of staffing. But what I believe, we are at a manageable staffing level. And if we did hire somebody, I would still run into the problem with backfilling and moving shifts if I were to cut from that money. So that's the minimum.
So if you hired somebody and you kept the budget of $80,000 for overtime, that would still cut into that $80,000?
It would still, because now I have that one person, and there always would have, like, if I would put that one person, it would give me an extra 3 to 11.
Right.
So now it gives me 4 days a week where I could have up to two people take days off. So that could be between the two of them, 2 new patrolmen, 10 days a year.
So the
each of them.
flexibility is, yeah, I got it. Okay.
It's a
Makes
little
sense.
bit, but it's not, there is some savings there, but it's not, I think, to that number.
And your officers, I assume they're okay with overtime?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
they're able to work it, and I know that there's a need, so if there's a need, then they can be forced to work it, but they're okay with working the extra shifts and,
Correct.
yeah,
Some more than others.
fair enough.
Some people don't work overtime, some people work overtime.
Okay, I think,
Guys, oh,
go ahead, I'm sorry.
On the heating fuel, I mean, I understand the electricity, again, this is also a public sort of space here, so we're using, resources here too, which kind of goes under the PD, but on the heating fuel, we're going down significantly.
Yes.
Is that because we're so much more efficient?
No. So the old police station, we heated the entire building with heating fuel. Here, the heat here is electric, so that's why your electric bill goes up significantly. What we do for heating fuel is we're on propane for the outbuilding and the Sally Port. So that's what the heating fuel would be used for.
Okay.
And the water increases because of the new property, the irrigation on the new property?
Yes, correct. So the water line, the water service line item, it says it goes from 1,000 to 6,000, but that $1,000 from the FY20 and the other previous year actual budgets is like Poland Springs water. That's what we had water before, because we were on a well up the street. Now we're actually on city water, so we'll get the bill.
if I could, I just wanted to make mention that you'll see in the bottom of the chief's salaries line that it looks like it's going up 14.06%. That is not true because we moved communications, which is 3 pages further on, at 298, 697, into the police line. And so that budget is now 0. and that 298, 697, or the equivalent of that has moved into the police budget. So when he's saying he has a wage
If you go down
decrease.
a few pages, like Maureen's pointing out, if you go down a few pages, down you see the communications budget, which is a separate budget. It's zero in there now. That 300,000 is in the police budget.
So just wanted to make
So
that point of clarification.
It looks like there's a big difference, but there really isn't, so.
So really, if we added 300,000 to last year's budget number here, that's the better percentage to
Correct.
use? Okay.
Correct, yeah.
So it's nothing.
Do you have anything else to offer?
No, do you have any other
Happy with
questions?
all the contracted services for the building and?
Yeah, so the, one of the other line items that has gone up, and you could see it, is the professional contracted services, and there's an increase there of $7,000. There was a increase in custodial here, an additional for a boat slip that we have for the boat, and then the maintenance agreement. That's the big one. So that is the cameras, the door locks, it's all the new technology, and that's in the building, and their maintenance agreement currently expires at the end of June. So the new maintenance agreement that they're offering, and I have Tim looking into it to see if this is something that other communities are paying, but it's $7,120 for a one-year maintenance agreement. So I put that in that line item. I don't know if that is more appropriate in the IT line, or if it should stay in my budget.
I'd stay in your budget.
Okay.
It's this building,
Yep.
security, you know.
Yeah. So that's the main increase there.
Anybody else got any other questions? We're just taking 10% off the bottom. We need some money. Thanks, Chief.
Thank
No,
you.
The only thing I wanted to mention, just for the sake of the Finance Committee, is you'll see all the notes on the right. I think Matt's done an incredible job for his first year, balancing whole new building, all new expenses, rearranging the whole communications, the dispatch, working with the fire. You guys have done you've done really great work. I appreciate your efforts.
Thank you.
So, there's a lot of work that's gone into this budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay.
All right.
We finished that part of the meeting. Does the Finance Committee have anything else that they want to talk about right now? I know yesterday, we went through the summary sheet pretty fast. I don't know if you have any questions on that, any of the items that are on that.
I just have a procedural question. So on his request for additional overtime,
Yeah,
is that something the selectmen will discuss and decide?
it's already in his budget.
Oh, okay.
It's already there.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's part of the budget he just talked about.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's got the minimums in there now.
Correct.
Will there be a discussion on your board about, do we stick
No.
with that, or is there a slide?
Should have gone big, Chief.
I was doing that as a preference, so you know.
He's planning for the future.
Maybe next year.
No, he's happy with what,
Yes, sir. Thank you.
what he's getting, so.
So the one thing that we have is we will need to post for a Finance Committee member to replace Cassandra. We obviously missed the timing on the election, so that'll be an appointed position for a year, so.
Did we get
Right,
the
so,
formal letter?
excuse me.
I'm sorry?
Did you get the formal letter?
I believe
Yeah,
Cassandra did
the
send
town
one.
clerk got it, I think.
Yeah,
Oh, she did one?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
We have it.
I would suggest right now, we just wait until after
Yeah,
the
fair
election, and
enough.
then we'll decide
That's
what we
fair.
want to do. We have to appoint somebody, so.
yeah. Do we allow for letters of interest right now, or do we
Sure,
just wait?
sure.
I mean, we could just wait till after the
No,
election.
we'll
'cause-
take the letters of interest now. If there's somebody interested, great.
Okay,
And then we'll vote on it after the election.
fair, yeah. All right,
Anything else?
anything else from us? No?
I think so.
Entertain a motion to adjourn?
Just,
Oh, disregard.
we don't know yet about the FinCom meeting. whether they want everybody to go or just the representatives, which, would be myself and Darren, to go to that meeting. So we're trying to get clarified. So
For regional FinCom?
Yeah. It says that they want to invite everybody, but I have asked them a couple of times and they haven't given me an answer, so.
When is that meeting?
The
19th. Yeah, I mean, you're welcome to go anyways.
It's just,
But,
George, I actually may need you to fill in for me. I might be in Detroit.
okay, I'd be like a stand-in, so I wouldn't be able to do anything, but yeah.
Okay, but at least you'd be there to represent.
Okay, so,
You said the 19th?
yes,
I'll check the schedule and let you know.
6:30, I think it is. At 6:30, yeah.
I'm in Washington State.
All right.
Unless,
Oh, for 2?
unless coronavirus.
You can get on planes, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
As far as the, one more thing, as far as the capital plan is concerned, we still, actually, we're having a meeting tomorrow with Maureen, Nate, and the town accountant to go over some of the monies we already have available to do projects that we need to complete that haven't been started yet. And number two is, to talk about the funding that's available and what's needed. So right now, that capital plan is a moving target. So we probably won't address that until the first week in April.
Okay,
So because between now and the end of March, we're pretty busy, so.
fair.
Okay, if anybody, there's a copy of the plan in there now in your book, actually, if you wanted to take a look at it, but I can tell you that it's going to be adjusted.
Okay.
Hopefully added to. So, okay.
Anything else for us?
I think that's it. Thank you.
Second?
Thank you.
Second, no discussion. We're done. Oh, no, I'm sorry, we have to vote on it,
Vote
right?
on it.
All those in favor? Aye. All right, now we're done.
Okay, see you tomorrow night.
See you tomorrow night.
Yep.
So, item number 2, Rich, we have discussed the FY21 budget summary. Do you want to discuss anything, or do we wait
We're all
until
set right now.
tomorrow
We're all
and
set
just
for now. Then
chat?
tomorrow night, we'll summarize where we are and what the next steps will be, so.
We'll ruin it when they start signing agreements and
Yeah.
Yeah.
have to do it all over again, and I'm really looking forward to it.
So is there any other new business from anywhere? Maureen, Tracy, Rich, Maureen? Nope. Old business, any old business?
Nope.
Nope. Any other business? Looking for work.
Don't look for work.
Then I will make a motion that we adjourn our meeting.
So moved. Second?
So all those in favor, me?
Aye.
Aye. All right, we're good. Thank you.
Thank you.